It's just you, me, this microphone, and a story. A story about what you might call a date.
This is the Deep Dive with Adam Roa.
Yo, what is up, deep divers? Hello, hello. My name is Adam Roa. I am your host, and today we're doing another deep dive musing. It's just you, me, this microphone, and a story. A story about what you might call a date, like my first real date since singledom. And the craziness that happened afterwards that has me really looking at myself and being like, how did I attract this into my experience? And so it has to do with money. It has to do with money. Money is such a complex thing, right? And so this is a story that I just wanted to tell, because what do? I'm now going to be going on dates and things, so why not share it with all of you? You like a good date story? Well, here you go. Before I actually dive into the date story, I want to let you know, make you aware, in case you weren't aware, that I have a free book called Treat Yourself Like Someone You Love. It is out on adamroa.com. All you have to do is pay for the shipping and it's yours. These are the 3 tools that I use for my self-love practice, and I explain it in a way where it's not just telling you how to do them, it's actually explaining to you how to view them so that you can get the most out of these practices. I am just excited to have that as an offering, because you deserve to love yourself as much as you're willing to work at it. You know, so, and that's the thing. It's a self-love practice, which I talked about on my most recent podcast, which is, you know, this is something that you will get better at the more energy you put into it, just like practicing anything else. So if you want to love yourself more, then go to adamroa.com, check out the book. We have like self-love journals up there and everything. So, and then lastly, another announcement is just please leave a review on iTunes or subscribe. That will help get this thing spread, this podcast spread to more people. And as you're going to see, based on my date, I'd love to have more people have this information, because I think that it could be helpful. And I keep laughing because the situation it got out of control. It got out of hand. So let's dive into that, right? I'm not even going to call this a date. I don't even know what to call it. Essentially, there was a woman who there was mutual attraction. We'd met like once before, several months ago, and I was in a relationship and she was in a relationship. So there is not like it was going to go anywhere. And, but it was like, oh, like I see you. Okay, cool. You seem cool. And then, I get back to Los Angeles, and lo and behold, she has moved to Los Angeles. So we get connected, and it's like, oh yeah, let's, see if we can hang out before I leave, because I'm only here temporarily. And, on one particular evening, when we were messaging back and forth, said, yeah, my schedule's booked the next couple days, but if you want to come over, like come hang out. And she did. She came and hung out. And I'm going to preface this in case you're thinking it's going to get steamy and juicy. We didn't even kiss. This is important information. We did not even kiss. Okay. There was some beautiful like dancing and sensuality shared, but there was really nothing like super intimate. And I want that to be clear in case you're listening to this hoping that it's going to get all juicy. It didn't really. And let me give you how this goes down, right? Let me give you how this goes down. And I have my phone here because if you're watching on YouTube, you can see me holding up my phone. I'm actually going to do this. But for those of you listening just on the audio, you can trust I'm going to read it directly from my phone. So there's no exaggeration. There's no paraphrasing, right? I want you in this with me. I said, I said, yeah, Wednesday's pretty tight for me. I'm finishing my team call in the next 30 minutes. I had a business call at night. If you want to hang tonight for a bit, otherwise we could do Thursday. She said, tonight is possible. I'm just grabbing a bite. And I said, great. I'd rather see you sooner than Thursday, right? That's true. And she said, all right, I'll cruise over after this. Send her my address, and I say, you can park in front of the garage door / driveway, because I have on the street, it's street parking in Los Angeles. It's difficult. So you can just park in front of the place that no one else is allowed to park, since I won't be leaving. And next text is, okay, here. So she arrives. We hang out. It gets late, and I say to her, hey, if you want to stay the night, you're welcome to stay the night. Mind you, we haven't even kissed. It's nothing like that. And she says, yeah, she'd like to do that. So she spends the night. It's a beautiful evening, right? There's talking, there's cuddling, there's that sort of things, but nothing further than that. And then in the morning, I wake up pretty early. I've been waking up super early, and instead of fighting that, I just go into like my morning practices, right? I stretch, or I think on this particular morning, I woke up, I handled like business emails, I stretched, I read my book or journaled or something. And then finally I was like, okay, I'm done with this stuff. Let me check and see how she's doing. And I think at that point it was around 8 a.m., right? I go into the bedroom and she's like, just kind of waking up, and I get into bed, and we hear like the sound of, street cleaners. Anyone who's lived in LA knows like it's infamous for street cleaning and weird times that you're allowed to park places, and parking tickets are rampant, right? So she like kind of like wakes up and she's like, is that a street cleaner? Do I need to move my car? And I said, honestly, I have no idea. I know it's trash day because I put the trash cans out. So it might be the garbage truck. But I can go outside and check the sign if you want. And she says, no, don't worry about it. And fast forward, I cook breakfast. We have a beautiful morning. Again, no kissing or anything like that. And she leaves, and we both leave at the same time. And I get a text message, 10 minutes later or whatever, saying that she got a parking ticket because it was in fact street sweeping on that day. And she said, got a parking ticket. I'm going back to reading directly from the phone. She says, oh no, that sucks. I'm sorry. And she said, yeah, for sure. First ticket since I've been here. If you would be down to pay for it or split it with me, that would be awesome. Now, my mind immediately went, well, that's interesting, because I offered to go and check the signs for this person who told me not to worry about it. Why do they want me to pay for this ticket? I'm not sure, but okay, let's figure it out. So I respond with, yeah, I'm open to split it with you, smiley face. I'd love to know your rationale behind that first. Since I offered to go out and check the sign for you this morning and you said not to, I'm just curious about your train of thought around my responsibility. So as you can tell, I'm pretty straightforward, and I do speak my mind, and I want to have really honest, open communication with anyone that I'm dealing with. Like, these are the little things as we go into like just a moment of what I've learned in relationships after being in a long one. Is these are the little sorts of things that if you don't honor like a truth, they can wind up breeding resentment. They're like the little things that add up later on, and you wonder why you're getting so annoyed with this person so easily or whatever. Like, these things add up. So I find that it's important just to like speak your truth, and not from a place of right or wrong, but like I did in this message, just like, can you help me understand why you want me to pay for your parking ticket? She says, great, thanks. So if I had invited you over to my place and asked you to stay the night and said it was cool for you to park somewhere, I would honestly feel responsible. Guess it's just the gesture of you being cool to cover it, but if you don't feel that's fair, it's all good. Now, I did say she could park in front of the driveway, and but I have no idea what street cleaning is. I have a driveway, so to me, I'm like, well, I offered to go and check. You told me not to. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I didn't want to argue about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, this is how she feels. I think she's cool. So yeah, I said, gotcha. Like I said, I can split it with you. All good. Right? So I'm thinking in my mind, cool, this is a chivalrous thing to do. I will share the responsibility of this financially, and lesson learned. She sends me her Venmo information and says, send me $40. Now, my phone got stolen in Bali and my Venmo account got frozen, and I've had no need to unfreeze it because I use PayPal. So I asked her, do you have PayPal? She says, no, just Venmo. You can pay with a card. It's super easy and they don't take a cut. I say, yeah, my Venmo was frozen when my phone was stolen in Bali. I'll figure that out tomorrow and send it. Just woke up from a hardcore pass out on the couch and just going to crawl right into bed. That was like at 9:30 in the evening. And so the next morning, noon, this is where it starts to get really interesting. The next morning at noon, she says, okay, keep me posted. This is one of those, send a text reminder things, right? Okay, keep me posted. I said, I sent an email to support. I'll let you know. I can PayPal now, but Venmo's just taking a moment. She said, like I said, I do not have PayPal. You can also swing by and pick up. I can also swing by and pick up some cash from you. It's like, wow, she really wants this money. Said, I'd like to think that's because you can't wait to hang out again, but it feels more like you're worried I won't pay you. Laugh out loud. So that's at noon. That's that exchange, right? At 7 p.m., 7 hours later, she sends, hey, so just following up, did you get that sorted? Would like to take care of it sooner than later. And I respond with only an automated response from Venmo. If I haven't heard back by morning, you can come pick up cash. I'm not going to forget. That, right? I don't hear from her for a day. Friday morning. Hey, Adam, just following up. Did you happen to get that sorted with Venmo? I then send her a screenshot for people that can see this on YouTube of a photo of me trying to pay this person on Venmo, and it's saying that I could not complete this transaction because your account is frozen. At this point, I've emailed them my ID and I've reset my password, and I'm trying to follow these things to unlock this so I can give this person their $40 for this ticket that I don't even really feel responsible for. And I let her know I sent in my IDs, and so they should unlock it soon. She said, okay, cool. Can also meet up and grab cash from you. I'll be out running some things in a bit. I'm like, wow, she really wants it. I said, I don't have any cash on me, but if I run out, I'll grab some. 5 hours later, I get a message. Hey, I'm out and about if you're free to meet. I was on my way to a theater show, which was amazing. And I said, I'm currently on my way to a theater show downtown. Are you really worried I'm not going to send you this $40? She responds, I'm not worried, just rather kind of funny the resistance to getting it to me. More than anything, a bigger sign from the universe, where it's flowing and where it's not. Okay. Now I'm starting to get a little frustrated. I'm starting to get a little bit like, what are you talking about? What resistance? And I said, there's no resistance. I said I could send it PayPal, and I'm at the mercy of Venmo unfreezing my account. The fact that it's such a big deal is what's strange. I'll send it to you as soon as I can. If you desire more flow, relax. Honestly, I'm rather tight on funds right now, which is why it's such an inconvenience and unfortunate that it even happened. And thanks for the advice, 100. Yeah, I figured as much, but you'll get the funds any day now. The ticket doesn't need to be paid immediately. It's all good. That's why I'm saying relax. It feels like you're creating a lot of stories around it or something. Not sure the energetic around money, but I don't desire to have it projected at me. You have my word, I'm sending it to you. Sorry if it's causing you stress. It's unfortunate that it happened. Her response: it is unfortunate that I wasn't more clear with my energy and my intuition, as I didn't really want to stay the night, but chose to anyways. So yeah, lesson for me to, quote, pay more attention and not just go with the flow because I have an invitation. Live and learn. Also, what type of masculine energy that I'm interacting with and attracting. whoa. So let me read my response first. You said you were calling in masculine who could pull you forward. To context for that, she had, while we were hanging out, she said that in her relationship, she'd always been the one like pulling her partner forward, and she was ready for a relationship where a masculine could pull her forward and she could grow and learn from, right? And I said, you said you were calling in the masculine who could pull you forward. So as someone who has had quite a bit of experience in the energetic of money, instead of projecting some story onto me, take a look at the contraction of energy you're bringing to the situation that's having massive impact on your financials. And then I sent a voice note. See if you can hear it.
So that you could hear. I'm not triggered or anything. That last message, I hope that when you read it, you take it the way I intended it, which is really to be helpful.
So I send this voice note, which is like a minute long, and literally tell her, like I send it because in text messages, you can like read into people's meanings or intentions or whatever, because you can't hear their voice. And I wanted to let her know that while I was firm and saying, hey, your contraction around this money and the energy of this is probably what's causing and having a huge impact on the fact that your financials are so tight. And I wanted to send the voice note so she could hear my voice. Like, this isn't a judgment. I'm not angry. I'm not any of these things. This is me trying to help. As you've declared that you want a masculine who can pull you forward and you could learn from. So, as a recap of this situation, by the end, this became a story about like the type of masculine that I am, with the implication that somehow I am unsupported, I am difficult, I'm not in flow. She didn't want to spend the night, so my invitation to be like, hey, it's late, if you want to stay the night, go ahead, somehow was like out of her integrity, and like that felt like it was being said to me like I did something, I don't know. And this is what I want to get to, because I'd be lying if I didn't say that there wasn't a part of me that felt like, oh no, did I do something wrong? Am I being unsupportive? Am I being some sort of, like bad masculine in this situation? I don't know. I did the best that I could. Like, let me examine it. And this is the important thing, right? It's not that there's a right or wrong necessarily. And it's not about where it wound up. It's about how do we respond in these situations? Can we be open-minded enough to say, okay, like, what can I learn from this? Maybe there is a way that I didn't show up in my highest. Like, let's take a look at that, because clearly this person is triggered. This person, and while I may have my perception of this and saying like, I'm going to send this person my money. I've sent 3 emails to Venmo support. And if anyone who works for Venmo is listening to this, like, get your customer support in order, please. I've tried to send this money. I'm not sure what else to do. Like, you could open a PayPal account if you really want it. And then like within 2 days, you're trying to come over just to pick up cash or meet me somewhere so I can give you cash for a parking ticket that I didn't even like want to take responsibility for necessarily, because I offered to go check the signs. You told me not to. I don't really know, right? So I don't agree with how it was being handled. However, I decided I want to take a look at this, because I noticed there's a pattern, right? In my previous relationship, I was also in several conversations and disagreements around money and how much I was handling the like financial responsibilities of the relationship, like just paying for more essentially. And the person that I was dating previously, when she was letting me know like, well, I want a partner where like you have more, right? You have more money. So like you should be really excited to pay for more things. And my view on it, where I came from, was letting her know, there's a big difference for me between paying for you because I can and paying for you because you can't. I desire to be in a relationship where I don't feel the pressure of my partner's financial situation. I don't feel like, I don't want to suggest doing this thing because it means either I have to pay for all of it or it's going to I'm not even sure this person can pay it. Or I don't want to worry that if my partner gets a parking ticket, that somehow that's my responsibility. I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like, that is important to me. And so I acknowledged that, okay, there is a pattern of somewhat where the money has been an issue of some kind. And so let me take a look at myself and see the ways in which I may have created this. How am I calling in women into my experience where this is the dynamic? And this is what I realized. I realized that because of my early childhood, because of the part of my life where I had the sexual abuse and the various different things, which I've talked about a lot on this podcast. And I guess there's some of you who are new listeners, but like, I was molested at the age of 5. I shut myself down sexually. I was raised Catholic. My dad and mother very conservative in a lot of ways, and so I just shut myself down from a sexual perspective and sexual energy, and it didn't feel safe to me. I had beliefs like it's not safe to be the object of sexual desire. I had beliefs like a man's sexual energy causes pain, like these sorts of things, and so. Life force energy, sexual energy, and life force energy, which is creative energy, it's abundance energy, and money in many ways is very much, it's a life force energy. It's a representation of that. And so sexuality and money, they cross quite a bit, as you see in the world. And so I had this experience of not feeling man enough growing up. Not feeling sexually powerful, feeling afraid of sexual energy. And so I equated a way of feeling powerful with being the provider. I equated, the amount of money I had to my attractiveness. I equated my ability to show up as a man to my ability to spoil a woman financially. And as I've reconciled that in myself, as I've started to feel so much more powerful as just who I am, regardless of what I have, regardless of what I've done, as I feel more powerful, more comfortable with my sexuality and sexual energy, as that has changed and shifted, I am noticing that I don't need that to any longer be like the breadwinner. I no longer need my money and what I can provide financially to be a thing that I find empowering. Do I desire, my love language is acts of service. So do I desire to still spoil my partner? Absolutely. But I don't desire to feel the responsibility of carrying the primary financials in my partnership. And so that's shifting, but it's not something that is going to shift until I take different action. It's not something that's going to shift until I become conscious. Like, awareness gives us choice, right? So my awareness of it will allow me to hold a different frequency in my system, and that different frequency will attract different women into my experience, different experiences. And so this was an opportunity for me to see that I was still attracting a woman into my life who was struggling financially and who then would take those financial struggles and essentially project them into my responsibility to somehow navigate, manage, and fix. So I get to be honest with myself and say, I guess what my reality is showing me is that I'm still carrying this energetic of somehow, some way calling in a woman like that because it's serving me. And this is what I've uncovered. This, I feel more like powerful and masculine when I can provide financially has been the belief that I've carried that has called women like that into my experience. And I'm not there anymore. And so I'm consciously choosing that. That's part of me recording this podcast, is making that announcement even like to the universe. This is no longer a part of my experience. I'm not doing it. And so I took a good long look at myself after this experience and discovered that, and I'm making shifts. So I'm excited for that to shift. And here's the other part. Let's go into the other side of this learning and this story, which is this woman declared and said straight up to me. And what's funny, she did this vulnerable share with me, and because I'm gonna keep her fully anonymous, I feel comfortable saying this, but she said that she had been talking with some girlfriends, and when she was declaring that she was ready for to be in a partnership with a man who could pull her forward and she could learn from and grow from, she actually told me that she used me as an example of someone like that. Fast forward to through synchronicity, here we are hanging out and we're in this experience, and I give her a piece of advice, which is, if you want more flow, relax, and like your contraction around this money is what's contributing to the financial situation that you're in. That's coaching advice. That is straight up truth as I know it to be, and I would give it to anyone. I felt like she had declared that she wanted someone she could learn from and be pulled forward from. So that was kind of why I offered that. And clearly, she was not the space to receive it. Now, there's a couple things to this. One, I could have asked, hey, would you like a reflection on this? I could have done that. And maybe next time I will. So acknowledgement there. But what I want to point out is, if you're calling in someone, if you're calling in the type of soul partnership and relationship where you can learn and grow and evolve because you're in partnership with someone, you need to be the space to be receptive to someone calling you on your shit. That's how you're going to grow, by acting out in your normal pattern behavior, which is mostly unconscious, and then having someone who can spot, hey, this seems out of integrity. Hey, this seems like it's coming from a wound. Hey, this seems like it's not supportive of what you said you want for your life. That's what's going to allow you to see your limiting beliefs. It's going to allow you to see the parts of yourself that are holding you back. And only by having the humility to receive that, and having the respect of the other, to respect the other person enough to actually say, okay, well, like, they may have a point, and having the emotional intelligence to understand that in your triggers, it may be like emotionally, you may be frustrated or whatever, but the emotional intensity is an absolute sign that you're triggered by something, which is the indication that there is a belief there and something to be looked at. You will not be a match. You will not be a match to that type of relationship if you're not willing to be called on your shit. Plain and simple. And so this woman is declaring and saying, I want a partner that I can grow with and learn from and evolve from, and literally used me as an example. And then when in this, let's call it conflict, or it doesn't even need to be a conflict, is the funny thing, right? Like, I'm going to get this person their money as soon as I can. And but like, this contraction around it is big. It's a big deal. It is a contraction around money. It's a scarcity conversation. It is also an indication of her relationship with the masculine, and her, like, there's so much there that could be unpacked. And if I was in partnership with this person, it might be the type of thing that we work through together and we grow from together. And to say that you want that relationship is one thing. Everyone says they want that relationship. Everyone's like, I would love to have a partner that I learn from and grow and evolve with. Okay, are you the space for that? Are you actually ready for that? Can you handle someone who's willing to call you out? And we can go into this further, right? There's a lot of layers to this, including the fact that she said, like, she, through her own experiences with the masculine and different things, needs to be in control. Like, that's a big one that she let me know. So how do you think that plays out in this situation? Needing to be in control, right? And how all the different ways in that infiltrates, right? I'm painting this picture for you so that you can see how layered and how nuanced and how intricate these all play in together. Right? Like the distrust of the masculine, which means I need to be in control, means that no, you don't get me the money on your time. I need it on my time. I don't trust you fully. My scarcity conversation is placing added pressure on this. And all of that leading into when you give me quote unquote advice, I'm going to take that and laugh at it and not receive it. Oh, and here I am on basically my first date experience, if you want to call it that, my first date experience being single. And that got crazy. And the key pieces to take away from this, to summarize it all up in a nice, neat bow. And I hope this has been enjoyable for you. This is longer than my normal musings, but wow, what a experience. One, if you find yourself in a situation like this, right? Just any situation where you go, how did I wind up here? Take a look at yourself. Ask the question. In this example, I looked at myself and said, how am I calling in women where I am needing to have these financial conversations? Why are finances and scarcity a part of the conversations I'm having with romantic interests? And I noticed that pattern, and patterns show us where there are belief structures in place that are playing out. And so I went, okay, great. What is that pattern? I developed the awareness, and then I'm making new choices to shift. Okay? So you get to do that with any situations you find yourself in where you're not fully happy that happened. The next thing is, if you declare you want something, the universe is going to give it to you. You want a relationship like that type of level of partnership? Great, call it in. But that means that if you haven't had it, it's because you haven't been a match to it. And so you get to look at, what would it take to become a match to what I want? And then when it shows up for you, are you going to shift to continue to be a match for it? In this case, the universe gave her literally what she asked for. Me. It's very flattering, by the way. But I literally showed up in her experience as the example of the type of person who could call her forward. And she still was like, nope. I'm not willing to look at this. I'm right. And how often we do that? How often we say, I want this. I want my own business. Great. Are you actually a match to running your own business? Do you have the motivation, the inspiration? Do you have the work ethic? Right? Like, these are the sorts of things that you get to ask yourself truly, so that when the universe gives it to you, you can actually embrace it, love it, and have gratitude for it, not resistance. And then lastly, I think the lesson that I'm learning on this one is a deep, deep appreciation for my previous partners. And, I went from a 10-year relationship to pretty immediately getting into a 1-year relationship. And there was a part of me that felt as if I guess that's just what happens. Like I meet women, I develop deep connection and deep love, and okay. And I think that I'm recognizing in my experiences and interactions of the single life how special connection really is, like true deep connection, soul connection. It's really special. And so if you have that, if you feel that, love that. Like allow yourself to bask in that. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know, it could end and end suddenly and messily, and what you have now may never again happen in that particular way. And so while it's here, love it. While it's here, cherish it. And that's something that I've learned. And I am happy to report that I have an appreciation of love that is deeper than I ever did before. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and communicate openly, as you can see in the way that I communicate, in my text messages. It's like, I don't fully agree with this. Can you explain to me why? It's like, okay, hey, after a bit of a back and forth, it feels like you're kind of projecting some stuff onto me, like this sort of thing. Are there ways to do it differently? Like, it could be a phone call, maybe. You saw in my example, like I recorded a voice memo when I felt that was important. Like, there's different ways to do it. We do the best we can. But communication is important, because even though this communication didn't necessarily go well, and like we'll probably never see this person again, at least I know that the communication allowed for me to see where we were misaligned, allowed for me to grow and be like, wow, okay, I get to make new choices. I get to look at these patterns that are showing up in my experience because the communication opened those doors. So at the end of the day, even if the communication winds up being the end of something or difficult, at least we have the awareness. Yeah. And that gives us choice. Thank you so much for listening to this long odyssey of a tale. I hope it was informative. I hope it was entertaining. And I imagine that as I go on dates and learn more about myself through these different reflections, there'll be a lot to share. So we get to all look forward to that. Thank you so much. Reminder, please share this out with your friends and family that you think might benefit, on social media. Leave a review on iTunes. Help me spread the word for this podcast, because it is a labor of love, and I want to keep it going. So I want to remind you that always, in all ways, you are seen, you are heard, and you are loved.